frames are not real. So what do I mean by that? So for the longest time, as you will see, people have always chased this weird concept about frames, like 60 fps, 120 fps, 90 fps, 240, 500. Okay, so in this pursuit of chase, what people have forgot, that frames are not everything that makes a game. Yes, it can help you smoothen the game out, but it is not the be all end all for everything, considering we are at a time that frames are very important. Not like that, but we are at a time that most of the games uh, are very kind of unoptimized, I would say. Not completely optimized. Some settings are very weird. You turn on this settings and suddenly the fps is like very low, this that. Okay, so and the solution for all this, what most of the people do is like, nowadays the so-called optimizations and all that, what do they do is like, they will go to the game settings, they will turn off the fog, turn off the textures, this that, and call it a day. Turn off all the important settings, like which makes the game look the way it looks like, and they will like just slide it down. Okay, they are seeing the volumetric fog is creating it's having some impact on the fps, so they will turn it down to turn it all down to low and call it a day and say it is optimization. But that is not the optimization. That is not optimization. That is just like putting like a band-aid, like on a cut. Okay, it doesn't fix the whole thing. The problem is every game is different. Every game needs a different kind of optimization. Every game has to be uh, like optimized how it runs. You don't have to lower most of your settings, play on everything on medium, and that is a gaming experience. No, if you want to play, you would love to play any game at like the highest quality it is possible for your gpu to push. Okay, unless and until something is broken, we are not going to change something. Okay, imagine, like, unless and until some settings are completely broken, maybe like say a setting, there is effect setting. Okay, so the moment you turn on to from high to ultra, it takes out 20% of fps, but it doesn't do anything. So that kind of settings lowering is perfectly fine, but we are not going to lower every single setting just for the sake of it. I will show you a method which will allow you to, even on medium end or like low end hardware, to play any game, to play any modern games. Okay, at like the highest quality, at like literally everything cranked to ultra. Okay, everything cranked to ultra with ray tracing. Okay, with ray tracing, every effects on, everything on. Okay, and with the least amount of input latency, while running super smooth, like buttery smooth. Okay, and but at first we have to get rid of that concept that fps is everything, like 60 fps, 120 fps is everything. If you can get rid of that concept, I will show you the method which will allow you to like play any modern game, like any game you take, even on a medium. Like I would say I have a medium range gpu, like a 4068 gb, which is not high. Okay, and a 3600 ryzen. But this gpu would allow me to play any modern game, like even cyberpunk, with everything maxed. Like everything maxed means like you're playing with ray tracing, global ray trace, global illumination, every single setting at like practically the ultra. Okay, at not only like at 1400p or something like that. No, some games you can, like, if it's not hard enough, you can literally play some games at like 1600p, which is higher resolution than 1400p. Okay, 1600p at not dlss quality or something. No, leave that. Like natively, like 1600p dla native. Okay, if you do everything right, what I'm saying, you will see the magic. Like, this is insanely, this is like a magic, I would suggest. So the first thing is to do everything, you have to optimize perfectly, like every single, what are the most single point of like failures, everything you have to optimize properly. So what do I mean by that? Some things you have to do for every single game. This things you have to do for every single game you touch. First, here you go to gpu. Okay, and you first browse, and you select the game. This is the Hogwarts Legacy we are gonna optimize today. So go Hogwarts Legacy, whatever it is, go and like set to performance. Okay, it's 4060. Done. We did that. Okay. So next thing we would go to that game registry. Okay, as we can see here, this is a game registry. First thing we would do is like go to binaries, go to the game. Where is the game? Here is the game. Okay, as you can see here, you go to properties here, go to compatibility, do this, disable this full screen optimization. So the problem with full screen enabling, keeping it on, is like just untick it if you are playing multiplayer games. Other than that, if you are playing single player games, always keep this ticked. So what it does is like it helps with the fluctuations of like FPS. Suddenly sometimes FPS will go high, low, this, that. Okay. Go to DPI and always put this on tick, even if you are playing multiplayer games. Okay, that's it. So I have used this DLSS tweak. This you don't have to use it. So I generally, this what it does is like it pushes DLA into the game without breaking it. So sometimes some DLA in this Hogwarts Legacy, the DLA doesn't work properly. So I'm pushing it from this. So the DLA is on. This is, see, the DLA is on. This is running natively. Hogwarts Legacy is running natively. Okay. So even if I play in like, if it's showing like DLSS quality, it is playing in DLA, which is like almost native, but it has that thing. Okay. Next thing what we do is like you go to engine and you figure this out. This is very important. Go to NVIDIA DLSS. What are the DLSS you are gonna use? This is very important. Okay. So we're gonna use all the tips and tricks what we can do to achieve that. So as you can see here, I'm using the latest DLSS like 4.5. This is like the completely the new DLSS. Okay. This is the DLSS 4.5. As you can see here, it's already done. So this is 53 ABS. I'm using this DLSS 4.5. This is the latest model. You don't have to. If you use DLSS 3, the older model, the CNN model, it will give you more FPS. But I'm gonna, as I'm like, I'll show you like how to get the most out of it. I'm gonna use this, the latest. This you have to like download this properly and put it everything like properly. This you can't skimp on it. Okay, everything is here. DLSS. This is the DLSS we fixed. Next, what we do is like you have to test and try which one works for you. Okay. Next, what we have is like, so streamline, when you go to the binaries, it will give you this. Okay. So here you put the DLSS D is like ray reconstruction, as well as DLSS is frame generation. So sometimes what happens is like if you're using DLSS 3 frame generation, it is not as good as like DLSS 4 frame generation. So I always like make sure which is you are using everything properly. Okay, this is DLSS 4.5 frame generation, which is really good, better than like DLSS 3 frame generation. It used to cost stutter and all that. You just do what, drag and drop here. DLSS ray reconstruction, you drag and drop. DLSS frame generation, drag and drop. Okay. So this you have to do for every other game. Okay, it is non-negotiable. Like these are the things. Properly putting the DLSS, properly doing everything, you have to do it. Next, what we do is like we go to the NVIDIA control panel. We went to the NVIDIA control panel. This is, and before okay, NVIDIA control panel. Let's show you everything. Okay. First we add the game. So the game is already added. We are doing the Hogwarts Legacy. And before I tell you, this Hogwarts Legacy is running global illumination, ray tracing and everything. It is running ray trace global illumination, ray trace ambient occlusion, but it is, I'm using it from the INI file. It is put in the INI files. Okay, all the commands and settings are put in the INI file. So if you are seeing, I'm not going to use the in-game ray tracing features because it is very broken. So I'm using the INI file ray tracing features. Okay, so if you see the game, you would know, as soon as you see the game, you would know it is running the ray tracing ambient occlusion, ray tracing global illumination, and like even like ray tracing, what is that called, ray tracing reflection, ray trace reflection, but I'm using the INI file. So okay, you don't have to do it, you can turn it in game, but in game is broken, so I'm like, I turned it on. So okay, so here are few things which you have to, which will make or break the whole thing. So what we do is like low latency mode, you go and you select ultra. Okay, and this one is very, very important, max frame rate. So what you do is turn it on, And max frame rate, what you should cap it on is always 3 below your monitor refresh rate. I don't know why, what is this magic or something, but you have to cap it 3 below. If you have 165 hertz display, you cap it 3 below 165. As I have 144 hertz display, I capped it 3 below. So it is somehow, it is like, it helps with the, like, it makes the game super smooth. I don't know what it is, just 3 below your monitor refresh rate. If you do it in max frame rate, it will become so much smoother, like even instantly see it. Like, I don't know what magic is this. Maybe it is like something with like VSync or something, but it is insane. Okay. And you turn on triple buffering as well as vertical sync. So why we are turning this? See, I'll tell you one thing. You have to what we are trying to achieve is like having the lowest latency possible, okay, along with the smoothest experience possible. We are gonna not chase FPS. If we chase FPS, what will happen? We're always gonna see it is sometimes it's 48 FPS, 50 FPS, and you will see, oh, this is not high enough FPS for me to play. But that is absolutely wrong. Okay, FPS only matters. FPS doesn't matter unless and until the game is smooth. So sometimes what the problem with FPS is like, you uncap the FPS. Okay, you are playing everything in like uncapped. Okay, so what happens? Sometimes your FPS is 120 FPS, and sometimes as soon as you enter some congested area, okay, the FPS goes to like 80. So from 80 to 120, there is this FPS drop. So what happens is like suddenly it will give you a micro stutter. Okay, so you don't want to do that. You want to keep it as smooth as possible. Okay, unless and until you are playing multiplayer games, you want to keep your FPS like completely like locked. I keep my FPS locked at 60, because when you do all these trips and picks and trips, you won't even feel that you are playing in like 60 FPS. You will feel like you are playing like 120 FPS. It becomes so smooth, like completely smooth. You don't have to do. And one more problem with like hiring of FPS is like it pushes the GPU to its max. So what happens if you uncap FPS? Okay, it will push the GPU so hard that the GPU doesn't have a room to breathe. You will have to lower all the settings because the GPU can't breathe. So what happens with capping FPS to like 60 or something, like maybe 60, 70, your GPU has room to breathe. You can crank up every single settings to like max, every single setting to ultra, which is insane. Like, I'll show you the magic. This is like where the magic is. Okay, so what you have to do is like, just remember this: G-Sync, V-Sync, every kind of sync is your friend, not your enemy. I'll show you why. This is what will make your game, you are running a game in like 1080p, okay, just everything in medium and everything, leave about ray tracing. This will make a game from there to like completely like insane. It will make you play at like 1600p ray tracing on like every single setting cranked to max, this that, like this few things if you do. Okay, you go to ultra, you go to max frame rate 141. Okay, you turn on this triple buffering. It's a kind of vertical sync. It's a more advanced vertical sync and like racing, and you turn on vertical sync, not fast but on. You turn this triple buffering also on. Okay, on top of that, you want to turn G-Sync, V-Sync on whatever you have in your monitor. You have to do this. In-game V-Sync on everything you have to, like in-game V-Sync should also be on with triple buffering, V-Sync. Okay, just turn it on. Set up the G-Sync and turn it on for your monitor. Okay, now that this is done, okay, we are done here. What we do is like, I'm gonna use like, what happens is like, so I'll tell you. So what happens is like, as soon as you turn this G-Sync, V-Sync on and everything, right? So what happens is like, it caps the FPS to around 60, 70, whatever it is. Okay, very lower, but it creates this very smooth and like very low latency. So the latency will be so low, as you can see. You can push like frame generation. On top of frame generation, you can push one more frame generation like lossless scaling, and you won't feel any artifacts, nothing. Like literally it's magic. Like I'm telling you, this few things, if you do properly and correctly, it will like literally, it is magic. So we are gonna turn on lossless scaling on top of it. Okay, not now, but I'll show you everything how to do it properly. So here is a lossless scaling. So we go to the game, we start the game. It might hear this is too good to be true, but this is actually, it works. I'll show you, like, this will actually work. This is like so good. This is like, sometimes you will feel like it is unreal. Like, same games, your other like people are showing you that it is running on like 1080p, like everything in low, but with this kind of like optimizations I'm showing you, okay, you can run it on 1600p, like DLAA, ray tracing on, every setting to the max, and you will still get smooth. Because why? Because I'm not chasing FPS, I'm chasing the smoothness. If something doesn't feel smooth, what I will do, from DLA I'll go to like a lower DLSS quality, I'll go to DLSS performance. I don't have to go to 1600p, I'll maybe go to 1400p. Okay, so you understand? Yeah. So as we start here, so yeah, so there is this problem here. Okay, so as you can see here, first we do is like control shift. So here we go, here we go, here. This you have to do for every other game. Hogwarts Legacy, you put it on like above normal. Okay, this is done. So look at this, every setting is like FX quality. See, as I said, like unless and until you have to, something is bothering you, effect quality, if you go to ultra, there is this problem, it ruins the reflection. Okay, some game might take a lot of VRAM memory, so for those kind of games you can put the texture from like ultra to like high, but this doesn't take that much. Okay, and remember, the ray tracing is on, like it is on in the background because I used INI files. Okay, so it's not turned on here, but it is running. Population quality, this kind of things are useless. Population, it's like you can get a with medium. So what population does is like it like pushes the CPU very hard, but we don't want to do that. Everything else is ultra, unless and until something is like low, we're not gonna. This is running in DLAA also. Okay, as I showed you before, it is running in pushing DLAA. This is so native 1080p. You can push even higher, like 1600p you can go to play it, but I can't do it because I'm running OBS, so somehow it gives a lot of like weird artifacting and all that, so I'm not going to use it. Okay. So here, as you can see, frame generation is turned on, reflex is on. Okay, so DLSS quality, but it's running DLAA. Okay, this is very important. You have to cap your frame rate some way or the other. You have to cap it. If you don't cap it, you have to cap it. Your GPU will overheat. Your FPS will like go everywhere. You won't be able to like play every game in ultra. Nothing. The input lag is gonna be insane. Why? Just play it in 60 FPS. Just cap it. It doesn't matter. And also this motion blur is very important. Make sure to turn on motion blur. So motion blur along with VSync and G-Sync will clear this image, which is very smooth and like very good. This is like depends on your depth of field, is that okay, it depends on your personal choices. Okay, so okay, we get into the game. So already frame generation is running. Okay, but I'll turn on another frame generation like on top of it, but it won't have any artifacts, nothing. If you fix everything with the G-Sync and V-Sync, it fixes almost everything. Every other issues it fixes. So as you can see here, like we won't look into frames. Looking into frames is the worst thing. You just want to have a smooth, super smooth playable experience with this kind of settings and everything. There will be no stutter, no nothing, because everything is capped. It is going in that range. It is going from like 50 to 70. So what happens is like even if there is like small stutters, it is not that huge of a gap. When you uncap it, sometimes you can go to 80, sometimes you can go to 120, which will create a stutter. So as you see here, so I want to turn on this ray reconstruction. So how to turn this on is like, because it looks better with like ray reconstruction. So I just turn ray tracing on, but this won't turn it on unless you like restart the game, but it gives you the ability to ray reconstruction. Yeah. Now on top of that, we are gonna run this. We are gonna run another lossless scaling. Okay, wait for like 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait for 10 seconds to like fix everything. Okay, now look at this. Look at how smooth the game looks. This is running like DLA and everything. Like it is running OBS also on top of it. Look at this. Like literally there is no stutter. Look at the smoothness. Like it is running ray tracing. Like just imagine it is running ray tracing everything on max. DLA like native. Still it is running this smooth. Look at this. Like do you see any traversal stutter? Like any hiccups? Nothing you will see. Like this is not an optimized game, still you can like get this kind of performance. Like I don't know if there is something wrong with OBS. If you turn off OBS, this will be like 10 times better. Like I can guarantee you that. There is barely any artifacting, barely anything. Like just try it out for yourself and you will see. There's some issues with like playing in lower resolution. I don't play it. Like I don't play in lower resolution unless and until I have to. So this is running. As you can see, this is running like it has bounce lighting on also, ray tracing global illumination. So I have this one more video. You can see how to like turn that on to make it run like. Yeah, I don't play any game in 1080p as I'm using this OBS. That is the only reason. Look at the smoothness. Just look at literally no stutter, no nothing. This is running ray tracing. This has DLA. This is running everything on max. Still there is, and this is not even an optimized game. This has lot of stutters, but look at this. You see? And there is not barely any latency. There is barely any latency. Look at this. It is everything is like so, like even though it is smooth, like everything is so like intact. Like everything like feels so like heavy, like heft. It has a heft to it. Like you have to see it for yourself. Just because of OBS, it takes a lot of FPS also. Other than that, I would have shown you like you can run this game at 1600p DLA. You can crank it up to 1440 or 1600p if you don't have OBS running on. Okay, so you can just imagine the kind of performance. This is running. Look at this. It won't have too much artifacts also. Like people say frame generation as artifact. No, you're putting the wrong frame generation. Put the proper frame generation, latest frame generation inside your game. Okay, on top of that, the frame generation is so good. On top of that, you can put another frame generation because the latency is so low. Do you feel like there's two frame generation running? Because of two frame generation and like VSync and G-Sync, everything is like super smooth. Like yeah, there are some issues happening, but this is because of playing in 1080p. I don't play any game in 1080p. I play in like either 1440p, like everything in DLA, or like if you look at this, like everything is like ray tracing on. See the shadows and everything. It has global illumination on. Everything gives bounce lighting to the other places. So yeah. I'll start making these videos. Tell me if you like it. This is gonna like change your, like if you change your perspective, it will like, this is the modern generation of optimization. This is not your fake optimization, lower everything and like call it a day. No, this is optimization at the highest level. This is the real optimization because every game is different. Look at this, like everything on ultra along with ray tracing, along with DLA. And this is not even all. As I'm using OBS, I can't show you properly. I can crank this resolution to like 1600p with DLDSR, and you can run it on 1600p also. It's just so insane. So yeah, that's about it guys. Tell me if you like the video. I'll start making about every game is like different, so I will start making games about every other different game and everything. So yeah, so have a great day. Let me know, do you like the video or should I start making like more of this, like maybe some few mods. Every other game can like, some mods can fix some issues with some games, this that. Like every game can be optimized like this. Every single game you can play in ray tracing, this that, whatever it is, you can do it. Yeah, so thank you guys, have a great day.